Hi, welcome to this video. Here I kind of want to start getting into explaining what everything actually is and move on to stuff like classes. So first of all, when we open a program, we will have by default just these lines. So we'll have using systems, namespace, and the name of the program, class, program, right? But what are these things? Now, to put it simply, using systems is basically a namespace. Just like our own namespace. It's just that this one's something that comes with everything. And a namespace contains a lot of things like different classes. So it's, I guess, like a container for bits. And you can access different ones by just calling them. So apart from systems, we could have systems.collections.generic like we had before. And there is a wide availability of different ones. We can even make our own ones and grab them and call them within our program. Now, because we're using systems, we get access to the classes that are in the system, like console. This is actually a class. So, and .WriteLine is a function within that class that we can use. So that's basically I guess, the very basic explanation. So that means that because we are constantly using different classes like console, that means we can write our own, right? Yes, it does. So here is our first class, which is called program. So that means that all I have to do is just write class, my class, and then just create brackets. And that's essentially how it works. We now have a class in our program. I'll make that class public. Now, this is something I haven't mentioned, but it's basically, so if we don't put anything, it ends up being private. And then aside from private, you have public, you also have protected, and so on. Public means it's accessible. Private, it means it's self-contained. I'll go over these in a little bit more detail later when they will be actually relevant to what I'm trying to show. So now we have a class, and then inside of this class we can declare I don't know, integer, and then number of wins in a specific game. Now, here you can then get access to this class, same way with how the console stuff works. So one way of doing it would be to call my class. We can call it, it's similar to calling a function. So we'll do something like this. My class, and now it kind of, this links up this class. It's a bit like, oh, I want to have access to it. I make an instance of it, and now I can use it. So now each time we call the class, we can access anything that's accessible. For example, number of wins. And then let's try just doing private int number of losses. So if we do the class and have a look at everything that's available, the only thing that's available is number of wins, because the other field is private, which is hidden from us. Now, we can just put the class and number of wins. There you go. So this is basically the main gist of the classes and calling classes, and just a quick introduction to namespaces. I believe there is not much more that's necessary to know when you're a beginner, but I'll cover more as time goes on.